OK, welcome back. Well, look, obviously you will all be aware that the big news, one of the big news stories anyway, of the last couple of days has been the Zach Polansky issue when it comes to him reposting that picture of a bloke wearing a shirt with a guillotine on it, and we're only making plans for Nigel. Nigel has reported him to the police. Anyway, Zach Polansky appeared on the BBC about half an hour ago. I'm going to play you a couple of clips of what he had to say. He's refused to apologise for that social media post on Instagram. Here's what he had to say.
But it's an inadvertent mistake, and so I think the amount that it's been reported, particularly by press...
Originals, I'm Emily Carver. Please do give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and do leave a comment. Let me know what you think.
...are owned by billionaires who often attack me. I talk a lot...
come on.
Well, no.
Come on. Any leader of a political party in this country who shares a post like that is going to have reports and stories and conversations about them. You know that.
Well, can I...
Do you want to take this opportunity to apologise to Nigel Farage?
Well, if I'd done it deliberately, I'd be apologising. But because this was a mistake, I think the important thing is that I point out it's a mistake, that I also make sure that I condemn political violence. And also, crucially, I make a commitment to be better on my social media.
OK. Do you want to apologise then or not?
No. The reason for that is because Nigel Farage, when I posted this, or when the person posted it, it got less than 1,000 likes. Nigel Farage then took it, cropped it, so it made it look like I posted it, which I think was fundamentally dishonest. It's now had 3.2 million views. So actually, this whole conversation has been seen more because Nigel Farage, the Yusuf, and I think Richard Tice posted it. So I'm accepting my responsibility in that I shouldn't have accepted that collaboration. I'm accepting that we all need to condemn political violence.
OK, a couple of things there before we play the next clip. Freudian slip from Walter Mitty himself there, saying when I posted it initially and then backtracking on that. He also had a little go about dishonesty, which is interesting from a bloke, of course, who's got a pretty shoddy relationship with the truth. You just have to ask the Red Cross, the Ministry of Justice, the Electoral Register, whoever owns the houseboat, or indeed the Hypnotherapy Council about all of that. But there you go. He's also tried to blame the amplification on it on Nigel Farage, Zia Yusuf and Richard Tice, claiming that at the point that it was posted, it only had 1,000 likes, but they amplified it. Do you not seem to remember that excuse not working for Lucy Connolly? When she posted something and deleted it, and at the point that she'd actually deleted it, it didn't have that many views, but then, of course, it went viral and it was amplified by the left, and she ended up getting sentenced to 31 months in prison. But he also claimed he didn't read all of the images of the post before agreeing to share it and accepted some responsibility for it. Here it is.
But on behalf of you, your party said last night, once this image was brought to Zach's attention, he immediately unshared the post. He unequivocally does not support this type of dangerous message. You're accepting it was dangerous,
yes.
And yet you won't apologise.
I accept it's a dangerous message that I shared inadvertently, and I've corrected that immediately.
But you won't apologise for sharing that dangerous message?
Well, as I said, again, if Nigel Farage wants to apologise for all the times that he's put other people in danger, then I'll be happy to make an apology.
Right. So, OK.
What do we make of that?
Moron, isn't he?
Yeah, Victoria Derbyshire can't even believe her luck, really, with this awful interview, this car crash, that shows him for the grifter that he is, right?
Bizarre logic. Like, I murdered someone the other day, right? And it would have been fine had they not been discovered. You know what I mean? That is the logic. You know, it would have been absolutely fine if no one had seen it. When only 1,000 people saw it, it was fine. It was only when it was amplified by the people who realised that it was grossly wrong that it's their fault for amplifying it. That is such weird logic.
Yeah, and also what I really take offence at is his deflection onto, oh, well, all the other times that Nigel Farage has done things, right? And I'd imagine that with his friends now, he's saying, well, why do I have to justify myself when the enemy, as he would see it, get to do all these other things and get away with it? Well, where are your principles, mate? If you share a dangerous message, if you think they share a dangerous message and don't apologise for it, fine. But if you share a dangerous message and don't apologise for it, that makes you just as bad.
Yeah.
Zach Polansky just experienced a dramatic political setback, sending a stark and urgent warning across the Westminster divide to Andy Burnham. What goes up must inevitably come down. It is an unwritten law of human nature and a fundamental principle of British political life. One need only look at the sudden trajectory of Zach Polansky to see how rapidly fortune can alter. The Green Party leader seemed to emerge from relative obscurity to capture national attention almost overnight. Very few in the broader political commentariat paid serious mind to the Greens until Polansky secured the party leadership with an overwhelming 84% of the vote in September 2025. Suddenly, the spotlight of public discourse was fixed firmly upon him. Yet, as his swift rise gives way to an accelerating sequence of missteps, his experience now offers an unmistakable lesson to former Greater Manchester Mayor and newly returned parliamentarian Andy Burnham. Before we dissect this intriguing dynamic, if you value thoughtful, mature and deeply perceptive commentary on the shifting tides of Westminster, please consider subscribing to Britain Underneath. Your support truly enables this channel to thrive and allows us to continue delivering clear, independent political insight. Take a breath, stay informed, and let us dive into the story behind the numbers and the headlines.
It's a warped logic, isn't it? It's such a warped logic that if you said something like, you know, OK, well, because we have seen X amount of Islamist terror attacks in this country or Europe over the last decade, that, you know, we're not going to apologise for the far-right terror attack because we've seen that. I mean, it doesn't wash any other way, does it, apart from in Zach Polansky's mind? What do you make?
Oh, they've taken whataboutery to a new level. Look, the thing is, we're seeing the dying embers of Zach Polansky's political career. Most people recognise it. I'm not sure Carol Vorderman and her chums recognise it. Even Gary Stevenson has had to step down from public debate because he made a whole documentary about how rubbish he is without realising it. and that whole part of the political discourse, I mean, Kai Wilshaw is against you. It's over, right? It's over. Kai will accept any old nonsense, but he won't accept this. So, look, it's over for Zach Polansky. This is just the very beginning, or maybe the middle, or somewhere near the end of the end. But it's over for him. And the reason it is, and the reason that this just has to change. And one of the reasons, by the way, a lot of people on the right have said, you included, I'm sure, Patrick, I don't want to speak for you, have said what we want to see for this is the same action we would have seen against the right. Not because we feel vigilante about this and we want to see retribution. I can certainly say from my perspective, what I want to see is it highlighted just how ridiculous it is to arrest people for words on the internet. And therefore, we will see a wholesale change. And Zach Polansky will be one of the pinnacles of that change, because we will look at this now. Even right-minded left-wingers will look at this and go, we cannot have this man leading any of our cause.
Also, I think you're absolutely right on the hypocrisy. Personally, I don't think he should be arrested for it. No. I don't think that anyone should really be arrested. Perhaps you should have a slap on the wrist, but I don't know whether an arrest, unless it directly leads to violence. I think that's the way it is in America, is that if you can prove that someone looked at a social media post and went and killed someone, then you get prosecuted.
I do wonder if there's something else.
The excitement that greeted Polansky within his own movement was undeniable. Party membership expanded rapidly, surging from 68,000 to over 230,000 during that period of enthusiasm. It was a phenomenon strikingly reminiscent of the movement that rallied behind Jeremy Corbyn when he unexpectedly took the Labour leadership years earlier. A seasoned figure from the party left, Corbyn similarly galvanised a wave of enthusiastic supporters, many of whom were passionate idealists seeking a fresh ideological figurehead. The political left in Great Britain has frequently demonstrated a deep craving for a charismatic leader capable of articulating their broader vision for systemic change. However, rapid expansion brought with it a complex array of supporters and vocal activists. Among those drawn to this renewed Green movement were single-issue campaign groups, foreign policy activists and seasoned entryists who saw an opportunity to advance their own specific agendas. Simultaneously, critics began to scrutinise Polanski's colourful background prior to his political ascent, referencing his earlier public career as an actor and practitioner in alternative therapies. While his supporters viewed him as a relatable, modern communicator, opponents argued that his populist flair lacked the policy weight required for serious national leadership. The broader liberal commentator class in Britain is often susceptible to brief, intense political infatuations. Consider how readily parts of the media once celebrated television personalities who rebranded themselves as populist crusaders railing against corporate influence. Those episodes rarely ended smoothly once the initial novelty wore off. Just as the momentum behind past political surges eventually cooled, Polansky now finds the sheen wearing off his own political project.
Going on here, actually, which is that, and there's no way of me proving this and everything. I wonder how totally in control of his own social media account Zach Polansky actually is, and if the truth is that someone else is in control of his, like a social media manager or something, and actually they retweeted it, or they've not retweeted it, reposted it, or whatever as well. And he doesn't want it to seem as though he isn't in control of his own account.
Of course.
And so he's saying, now I'm making a commitment to be more responsible with this. It doesn't, maybe there's two ways of looking at that. Maybe he doesn't want to throw someone under the bus who's quite junior. Fine, okay, some people might say that's admirable in a way, but I think for him, for a bloke whose whole personality is about I'm real, it's just me, maybe he doesn't want to admit that actually he's got a team of people who run his social media. That would just be a hunch for me. There's no way of proving that. Would be a hunch.
That still wouldn't explain. What I don't understand is why you can... how can you get as far as it was dangerous, messaging like that is wrong, all of those things, but not just say, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. I didn't look at what I was collaborating on, so I'm really sorry. Why would you not just say that?
Why are more people on the left calling this out, though, Kai? You know when Nigel Farage said, I think we should respond to the Henry Novak body cam footage with was it pure cold rage? He said, pure cold rage. There was unanimous, oh my gosh, this is disgusting, this is deplorable, you should apologise, you're inciting it. I think I'm right in saying, so far, I've only seen Pat McFadden come out and say that he thinks this is a bit squiffy.
I bet you there's lots of Labour MPs.
Not publicly, though. They don't want to get publicly.
Criticising it on Twitter. Let's check in the break and we'll see how many we can find. I bet you there's plenty because they hate him. But I do think this is sort of slightly ridiculous. One of the things I worry about in all of this is that I think on the left and the right, both of those the new insurgent parties, the Greens and Reform, are developing a bit of a grievance narrative, right? You see it with what Zach Polansky said, the billionaire-owned media, they're out to get me. And it's not actually dissimilar, take away the billionaire bit, but it's not dissimilar to what Nigel Farage said in that video where he had the smallest ounce of scrutiny, and he came out with this video essentially calling for regulation of the press. He mentioned, regulation of the press in his remarks. Now, I worry that both ends are starting to think when they get a bit of criticism on things that they are being treated unfairly. That is not the recipe for a good
It's also worth mentioning in a...
Much of Polansky's initial momentum was generated in the digital sphere. He's a politician who operates almost entirely in the public eye, deeply engaged with social media platforms. Yet the very mediums that built his public profile have increasingly contributed to its erosion. In political life, being hyper-connected on digital platforms is a double-edged sword. Polansky's public standing suffered a notable blow when he publicly criticised unarmed police officers who had put themselves in direct harm's way during a high-profile security incident in Golders Green. The commentary was widely perceived as tone-deaf and out of touch with public respect for frontline service personnel. That incident was followed by further online controversies. Polansky faced significant backlash after sharing media depicting political satire referencing a guillotine targeted at right-wing figures. In the contemporary political climate, where safety and discourse standards are under intense scrutiny, critics accused him of legitimising hostility against opponents such as Nigel Farage. Though the post was subsequently removed, Polansky opted against offering a formal public apology, choosing instead to engage with online posts accusing his political rivals of far-right tendencies. For many neutral observers, this approach reflected a lack of strategic discipline, weakening his credibility as a mature political leader. If you are finding this analysis insightful, take a moment to subscribe to Britain Underneath. It genuinely helps the channel to stay independent and bring you continuous coverage of the crucial shifts shaping British politics. Also, do make sure to watch through to the very end of this video, as the conclusion holds the most crucial takeaway for what lies ahead in Parliament. Polansky's broader challenge, however, stems from the arrival of a far more formidable political figure on the national stage. The left now has another central figure in the form of Andy Burnham. Both men have recently secured high-profile internal victories, but the scale of their respective mandates warrants careful examination. Polansky won the leadership of the Green Party with 20,411 votes from party members. Burnham, meanwhile, won his return to Westminster in the Makerfield by-election with roughly 24,000 votes. Combined, these two key figures on the left claim mandates from fewer than 45,000 voters, in a nation where 21 million citizens cast their ballots at the general election. This numerical reality exposes the delicate nature of political momentum in modern Britain. Burnham is undoubtedly a far more experienced operator than Polansky. Having served in senior cabinet positions under previous Labour administrations and subsequently spending years building a powerful regional profile as Mayor of Greater Manchester, Burnham possesses the tactical savvy to avoid many of the rudimentary traps into which less experienced figures stumble. His public approval ratings have risen impressively as a result, leading many to view him as a potential challenger for the broader leadership of his party. Yet popularity in modern politics is notoriously perishable. Sir Keir Starmer experienced how quickly an overwhelming mandate can be tested by the harsh realities of governing. Polansky is learning that lesson right now as his political novelty fades under sustained media scrutiny. Popularity built on momentum rather than deep structural support is inherently fragile. This brings us to the core warning that Andy Burnham must heed from Polansky's current trajectory. Burnham is currently riding a wave of goodwill, bolstered by his reputation as a champion for the regions and an effective communicator. But in Westminster, momentum can evaporate with remarkable speed. The public appetite for new political standard-bearers is insatiable, but so too is the swiftness with which public favour shifts when expectations are not met or strategic errors occur. Political history demonstrates that those who rise fastest often face the steepest drops when the climate changes. For Burnham, watching Polansky's sudden transition from political sensation to media cautionary tale should serve as a sharp reminder that temporary popularity must never be mistaken for permanent authority. To ensure you stay completely informed on how these political dynamics unfold across Westminster, please subscribe to Britain Underneath and hit the notification icon. Your support helps this channel grow and allows us to deliver high-quality, mature and independent commentary every single week. Thank you for watching all the way through to the end. Make sure to return for our next video as we continue to unearth the real mechanics driving British politics today.